Have you ever noticed how the tightest prisons are often the ones we build inside our own minds? We cling to things, jobs, relationships, identities, as if our very survival depends on them. We grip them so hard that our knuckles turn white, terrified that if we loosen even a little, everything will fall apart. But here's the paradox. It's not life itself that exhausts us. It's the endless clinging, the desperate attempt to control what was never ours to hold. Buddhism teaches that suffering doesn't come from the world as it is, but from the way we attach ourselves to it. Imagine trying to catch water with a closed fist. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. And yet, when you open your hand, the water rests gently in your palm. Letting go isn't about carelessness. It isn't giving up. It's the quiet, courageous act of loosening your grip on what was never meant to be chained. The Buddha once said, "You only lose what you cling to." Think about that. The career you wrap your identity around, the relationship you fight to keep alive, the image of yourself you guard so carefully. All of these drain your spirit, not because they exist, but because you've made them part of your survival. But what if letting go wasn't weakness? What if it was the highest form of wisdom? What if the moment you release the rope is the moment you discover you were never hanging over a cliff, but standing on solid ground all along? If you've ever felt stuck, like you're doing everything right yet still drowning in anxiety or invisibility, this message is for you. Stay with me until the end, because there's a hidden lesson, a single insight that may completely turn your understanding of life upside down. And if you remember nothing else from this video, remember this: peace is not found in clinging, it is discovered in the art of letting go. Lesson 1: the illusion of control and the freedom of letting go. What if the very thing you think is protecting you is the very thing that is breaking you? Day after day, we tighten our grip on outcomes, on people, on carefully crafted plans, as though holding tighter could prevent life from slipping through our fingers. But here's the paradox: the more we clutch, the faster things seem to fall away. Control feels safe, it feels like certainty, but in truth, it is the ego's most seductive illusion. There's an old Zen saying, "Let go or be dragged." It isn't poetry, it's survival wisdom. Because control doesn't deliver safety, it breeds fear. Fear of failing, fear of losing what we love, fear of never being enough unless everything unfolds exactly as we demand. Buddhism teaches us the principle of non-attachment. Many people mistake it for indifference, but it is the opposite. It's not about caring less, it's about caring freely, without chains. Non-attachment means you stop binding life to your expectations. You don't own this moment, you are simply here to live it. The more you force it, the more it resists. Think about your own life for a moment. How many sleepless nights have you spent worrying about a future that never happened? How many hours have you wasted clinging to a relationship, already drifting like a boat out to sea? How much energy has gone into micromanaging every detail of tomorrow, only to find that all it gave you was pressure, not peace? Now imagine an experiment. For just one day, you stop interfering. You stop rehearsing every outcome. Stop building walls against every fear. Instead of controlling, you simply breathe. You watch. You listen. You respond. Not with panic, but with presence. Ask yourself honestly, what am I really afraid of if I let go right now? Most of the time, the answer isn't catastrophe, it's discomfort. And discomfort, as every monk will tell you, is the first step toward awakening. That job you didn't get. Perhaps it wasn't your path, that relationship that ended. Perhaps it was a chapter, not your entire story. Life is always guiding us, but we're often too busy resisting to notice. And here's the hidden truth. When you let go, things don't collapse. They settle. Not always where you imagined, but often exactly where you needed to be. Surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the courage to trust the river rather than fight its current. The next time you feel yourself tightening, pause. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, is this weight worth carrying? Then soften your grip. Let go. Watch how space opens up where struggle once lived. A monk once said, "Peace is not found in the absence of noise, challenge, or work. Peace is discovered in the middle of them when the mind is calm." That calm does not come from control, it comes from trust. So ask yourself, what if letting go is not the end, but the beginning? What if the person you are so desperately trying to hold is not the person you are destined to become? To rise, you must release. If you want to soar in the sky, you cannot keep clinging to the earth. If you want to move forward, you must leave behind the chains of the past. Let go, let life come to you, and watch how beautifully it arranges itself when you finally stop trying to arrange it. Lesson 2. The paradox of detachment. Here's the paradox no one tells you. The moment you let go, you actually rise higher. Strange, isn't it? We live in a culture obsessed with outcomes, numbers, achievements, likes, validations. We cling to success as if our worth depended on it, but the tighter we pull on the string, the more altitude we lose. A kite doesn't soar because we grip harder, it soars when we release. Detachment isn't weakness, it's the hidden power that sets you free. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering, not because desire itself is wrong, but because we chain our identity to the outcome. Detachment is not apathy, it is freedom. It is the ability to act with sincerity, to love deeply, to work diligently, yet without being imprisoned by fear of what might or might not happen. It's showing up fully, without clutching desperately at control. Think about your own journey. Maybe you poured yourself into a job, a relationship, a dream, believing that if you just pushed hard enough, it would all work out. But instead of peace, you found pressure. Instead of clarity, you felt confusion. Why? Because power never comes from the grip, it comes from presence. Detachment shifts the question from "will this work" to "is this true for me?" That one shift changes everything. When you're detached, you no longer react out of fear, you respond out of alignment. You don't manipulate conversations, you speak with honesty. You don't obsess over outcomes, you move with sincerity. And then you step back, you trust the unfolding. Practice this, set your intention clearly, but release the outcome. Meditate on impermanence. Watch how every thought, every feeling rises and falls like waves. Notice how even pain eventually dissolves. This is the secret of living lighter, to stop swimming against the current and begin moving with the river. Ask yourself, am I forcing what should flow naturally? Am I gripping what is meant to grow on its own? More often than not, what we force fails, and what we allow flourishes. The seed doesn't bloom because you demand it to grow. It blooms when you give it space, sunlight, and trust. So let me ask you honestly, what have you gained by clinging too tightly? Peace or pressure? Clarity or chaos? Every time we grip harder, we lose sight of the truth. Control is an illusion, but presence is power. Detachment doesn't disconnect you from life, it positions you in the center of it. It gives you real power, the kind that flows from authenticity, not anxiety. So loosen the string, trust the wind. Watch your kite rise higher than it ever could in your clenched fist. Let go and let life lift you. Lesson 3. How overthinking pushes away the very peace you seek. We often mistake overthinking for progress. We sit in our heads, replaying conversations, forecasting outcomes, analyzing possibilities, believing that if we think long enough, the answer will reveal itself. But overthinking is not wisdom. It is fear disguised as effort. It promises clarity, but all it delivers is chaos. Think of muddy water. The more you stir it, the cloudier it becomes. But when you stop, when you allow the pond to settle, the water clears on its own. Your mind works in the same way. Clarity is not created by constant spinning. It emerges when you stop disturbing it. Yet silence terrifies us. Stillness feels like failure in a world obsessed with noise, hustle, and productivity. So we keep pushing, replaying old mistakes, worrying about futures that haven't arrived. But Buddhism calls this the monkey mind, a restless mind that leaps from fear to doubt, always clinging, never resting. The monkey mind tries to control life by thinking harder, but true wisdom does not rise from noise. It rises when the noise dissolves. Haven't you noticed? The best insights often come when you're not even trying, under the shower, on a quiet walk, or in that one moment you finally surrendered. Why? Because you created space. Space is the doorway to wisdom. Here's the trap. We all crave peace, but we try to think our way into it. Yet peace is not something you chase. It's what remains when you stop chasing. So practice this. The next time your thoughts begin to spiral, don't follow them deeper. Interrupt the cycle. Close your eyes. Take a single breath, fully in, fully out. With that one breath, release the story your mind is spinning. Ask yourself, am I truly thinking or am I avoiding? Because often, overthinking is not about finding answers. It's about shielding ourselves from feeling, from deciding, from facing the unknown. Remember this truth. Life does not move when you think. It moves when you act. Set boundaries with your thoughts. If a decision is consuming you, give yourself a deadline. Don't allow hesitation to turn into paralysis. Clarity loves decisiveness. Even a small step disrupts the mental loop. And that quiet voice you often ignore, your intuition, your gut. It is not weakness, it is wisdom, but you cannot hear it as long as overthinking keeps shouting over it. So here's a new way forward. Stop trying to fix every detail with logic. Instead, feel. Feel the discomfort, the fear, the uncertainty. Let them pass through you like waves, instead of trying to hold them back. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is no move at all, not out of apathy, but out of deep awareness. When you stop resisting the present moment, it begins to speak to you, and in that stillness, true guidance emerges. So ask yourself, are your thoughts helping you, or are they holding you hostage? This is your reminder. Your mind is a tool. It is not your master. A tool only works when you know when to put it down. Stop stirring, let the pond clear, let silence rise, and you will see what was hidden beneath the noise all along. Peace has never been missing. It has been waiting in the stillness, patiently, for you to notice. Lesson 4. Why caring too much backfires. There's a hidden danger in caring too much. On the surface, it looks noble, selfless even. You tell yourself, I care because I love. I care because it matters. But if you look closer, sometimes what we call care is really fear in disguise. Fear of not being enough. Fear of losing control. Fear of being forgotten unless we constantly prove our worth. Think about it. Have you ever tried so hard to protect something that you smothered it instead? We crush dreams with perfectionism, convinced they'll only survive if we control every detail. We suffocate relationships with expectations, measuring them against an invisible standard no one can meet. We strangle our own peace with pressure, believing that unless we hold everything together, it will all fall apart. But here's the paradox. Love, like a flame, cannot grow if you cover it with your hands. It needs air. It needs space. When you cling too tightly, You don't protect the flame, you extinguish it. Maybe you've felt this yourself. The exhaustion of being everyone's rescuer. You say yes when your soul is screaming no. You try to manage people's emotions, to heal wounds that were never yours to fix, to carry burdens that were never meant for your shoulders. It feels compassionate, but it's not. It's over-responsibility. And over-responsibility doesn't lead to connection. It leads to burnout, resentment, and emptiness. In Buddhism, compassion, metta, or loving kindness is not about fixing others. It's not about controlling the outcome of someone else's journey. True compassion is presence. It is being with someone without forcing, without managing, without trying to rewrite their story. Real care is not heavy. It's spacious. It's sitting beside someone in their struggle, without trying to erase it. It's letting people breathe, letting life breathe, and trusting that growth comes not from your control, but from their own path. Ask yourself, am I trying to be everything for everyone? If the answer is yes, notice that this is not love. It is ego dressed up as service. Your ego wants to be the healer, the pleaser, the one who never fails. But love doesn't demand that role. Love says, I am here with you, even if it's messy, even if I can't fix it. And here's something deeper. When you tie your worth to being understood, validated, or praised, your care stops being unconditional. It becomes a transaction. You start giving, not freely, but out of fear. Fear of not being seen. Fear of not being enough. That isn't love. That is fear pretending to be love. So reframe care. Care is not fixing. It is presence. It is the ability to sit quietly with someone without advice, to support without solving, to allow yourself to rest without guilt, to care for yourself, not because you're trying to earn worth, but because you already are worthy. Release the anxious attachment, that constant checking if someone forgot you, that restless replay of conversations, that need to explain yourself again and again. That is not intuition, it's insecurity, and unless you meet it with awareness, insecurity will drain you of the very peace you're longing for. Now ask yourself this: what would happen if you stopped trying to manage everything? What if you trusted that the people you love could survive without your constant intervention? What if you trusted that situations could unfold without your endless supervision? Do you see how much lighter that feels? The irony is, when you stop smothering, your relationships deepen. Why? Because they begin to rest on trust, not tension. Not everything is yours to carry. Let that sink in. You are allowed to care without controlling, to love without losing yourself, to give without grasping. This is real compassion, not the ego's version of it. So pause and reflect. Am I truly caring, or am I managing others under the mask of good intentions? This is your invitation to stop trying so hard, to stop performing for love, to stop proving your worth through exhaustion. You do not need to be perfect to be loved. You do not need to overgive to be valuable. Think of a flame again. It does not grow stronger because you hover over it, desperate to protect it. It grows because it is given room to breathe. The same is true for your soul. Let it breathe. Let others breathe. Let life itself breathe. And perhaps most importantly, stop seeking validation. Not because you no longer care, but because you finally understand what real care looks like. Real care doesn't demand constant proof of worth. It flows naturally, effortlessly, without expectation. And when you live like this, something profound happens. Your heart feels lighter, your mind grows clearer, and your relationships become more genuine. You discover that peace was never something to chase. It was always waiting beneath the weight of your over-caring. Let go of the pressure to be everything. Let go of the belief that love must be earned. Step back, allow space, and you'll see. When you stop smothering, everything, love, trust, clarity, peace, finally falls into place. Lesson 5. What happens when you stop seeking validation? From the moment we are born, we enter a world that teaches us to perform. As children, we beam when our parents clap at our first steps. In school, we chase gold stars, grades, and recognition. In adulthood, it becomes likes, comments, promotions, and compliments. Somewhere along the way, applause quietly became our oxygen. Without it, we panic. With it, we feel alive. But here's the truth that often goes unnoticed. You were not born to be approved. You were born to be authentic. Think about a mountain. It does not ask the sky for permission to stand tall. It doesn't shrink when someone disapproves or expand when someone claps. It simply is, unshaken, unmoved. A mountain's worth doesn't come from applause, and neither does yours. Yet so many of us live as performers in our own lives, always asking silently, was that good enough? Do they like me? Did I prove my worth today? The constant chase for validation is subtle but exhausting. You may dress it up as ambition or call it drive, but if your peace collapses the moment someone criticizes you, that's not drive. It's dependence, and dependence is change disguised as achievement. Here's the problem with validation. It's a moving target. It shifts with trends, with moods, with other people's insecurities and projections. One day, they love you. The next day, they forget you. How can you build a stable life on ground that's shaky? Buddhism offers us a radical alternative. True freedom does not come from being liked. It comes from being real. From living in alignment with your values rather than performing for approval. When you release the craving for validation, you begin to hear your own voice again. You stop asking, do they approve? And start asking, is this true for me? That is where authenticity is born. Pause here for a moment and reflect. Who are you when no one is watching? If no one clapped for you, if no one noticed, would you still do what you do? Would you still speak your truth? Would you still show up for your path, even if the world stayed silent? That is the real test of authenticity. And here's the sacred shift. When you stop outsourcing your worth to others, you stop living in fear. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of invisibility. All of it begins to dissolve. In that fearless space, something remarkable happens. Creativity flows, courage rises, purpose returns. Try this simple practice. Each day, validate yourself, not with ego, but with truth. Write down 3 things you did well, just for you. Maybe you showed up despite anxiety. Maybe you set a boundary when it felt uncomfortable. Maybe you allowed yourself to rest without guilt. Let those moments be enough. Let them teach you that your worth is not conditional. It simply exists. And the next time someone praises you, receive it with gratitude but without clinging. When someone criticizes you, listen with openness but without letting it define you. Both praise and criticism are just like weather patterns. They come, they go, they pass. Your essence does not change because of them. Step into solitude. Not loneliness, but the sacred space where no one else's opinions echo. In that quiet, you'll meet the version of yourself who doesn't need permission to breathe. The one who doesn't ask for applause before taking the next step. The one who knows that their value is not up for negotiation. So, let me ask you directly, are you living for applause or for alignment? Because if you're chasing applause, you will always feel behind. Someone will always clap louder for another. Someone will always withhold the recognition you crave. But when you live in alignment, even your silence will echo with power. You no longer need to be seen in order to see yourself. You no longer need to be validated in order to feel valid. And in that freedom, you become unshakable. Remember, you are not a performer on life's stage. You are the mountain, tall, whole, complete. You don't need applause to prove your presence. Stand firm, stand true. Because authenticity is louder than any applause, and real peace begins the moment you stop seeking to be approved and start choosing to simply be. Lesson 6. The Art of Inner Anchoring. Most of us spend our lives trying to control everything, our plans, our relationships, our future. We believe that if we just manage hard enough, fix fast enough, and hold on tight enough, then peace will finally arrive. But here's the irony. The more you scramble to force life into the shape you want, the more chaotic your inner world becomes. There is another way, a mindset so simple, so quiet, yet so liberating that it can shift the way you experience everything. I call it the art of inner anchoring. Some people know it as the whatever mindset, but not from apathy, not from carelessness. This is a deeper kind of wisdom. It whispers, whatever happens, happens. I remain. That doesn't mean you stop caring about life. It doesn't mean you stop setting goals or having dreams. It means you stop tying your peace to the outcome. Because life by nature is unpredictable. Plans will fall apart, people will change, dreams will evolve. The mind will always want to panic, resist, or demand certainty. But what if true peace isn't about making sure everything goes your way? What if it's about staying steady when it doesn't? Think of a mountain. The winds howl around it, storms crash against it, seasons change upon it. Yet the mountain does not move. It doesn't argue with the wind. It doesn't resist the storm. It simply remains. This is the power of anchoring. Not indifference, but spiritual confidence. The knowing that you can stand calm and rooted, no matter how unstable the world becomes. When you live anchored, something extraordinary happens. You stop overreacting. You stop making everything personal. You start choosing peace over pride. Try this. Practice what Buddhists call radical neutrality. The next time someone says something that triggers you, don't rush to respond. Pause. Observe your reaction instead of obeying it. Ask yourself, does this really need my energy or only my awareness? Most of the time, awareness alone is enough. Or imagine the next time chaos erupts in your life. Whisper softly, this doesn't define me. Because it doesn't. Your value is not measured by how smoothly life unfolds. It is revealed in how calmly you carry yourself when it doesn't. And here's a spiritual tool people forget. Humor. When something goes wrong, when life throws you one of its curveballs, try laughing gently. Shrug. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, why should it steal 5 hours of your peace today? Sometimes the most enlightened thing you can do is smile at the absurdity of it all. Remember this, peace is not found in answers, but in releasing the desperate need for them. Can you remain calm when everything is changing? That is the real test. Because if your peace depends on stability, you will never know peace. But if your peace is built on presence, surrender, and inner anchoring, then no storm can uproot you. Anchoring yourself in this way doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. Because when you stop needing life to bend to your will, you begin to move in harmony with it. You stop resisting and start flowing. You stop breaking against the current and instead let the current carry you exactly where you need to go. So the next time life spins sideways, don't scramble, don't resist. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, whatever happens, happens. I remain. That is not weakness, it is mastery. Because letting go isn't losing control, it's allowing life to meet you where you truly are. And in that space, clarity returns, strength deepens, and alignment unfolds effortlessly. You become like the mountain, anchored, steady, unshaken. And from that grounded place, everything, peace, wisdom and strength, finally falls into place. Lesson 7. Beyond the prison of thought. You are not your thoughts. At first, this might sound strange, almost impossible to believe. After all, we spend nearly every waking moment listening to that inner voice. It tells us stories, criticizes our choices, predicts the worst, and rarely stops talking. Most people live their entire lives inside this invisible cage, convinced that every word their mind whispers is true. But here's the liberating truth. You are not the voice. You are the awareness that hears it. Imagine the open sky. Clouds drift across it, sometimes soft and light, sometimes dark and stormy. Yet the sky itself is never damaged by the passing weather. Your awareness is that sky. Thoughts are the clouds. Some bring rain, some thunder, some light. But none of them define the vastness behind them. Think about the last time a single thought ruined your day. Maybe it was one harsh comment, one memory of failure, or one fear about the future. That single thought spiraled into hours of anxiety, frustration, or self-doubt. But ask yourself, was the thought truth, or was it simply habit? Many of our thoughts are not reality. They are echoes, echoes of old conditioning, echoes of fear, echoes of voices we once believed without question. Buddhism teaches that thoughts arise automatically. That part is not your fault. But identifying with them, believing them, that's where suffering begins. You are not the voice saying, "I'm not good enough." You are the one hearing that voice, and the moment you stop attaching to it, something remarkable happens. You discover freedom. Try this experiment. The next time your mind races, don't argue with it. Don't suppress it. Just notice. Watch your thoughts the way you would watch clouds passing or a river flowing. Label them gently. This is just thinking. Then return. Return to your breath, to your body, to the present moment. You'll start to see just how much unnecessary noise your mind creates in its attempt to feel safe. But awareness doesn't need to feel safe. It doesn't need to cling. Awareness just is. Quiet, steady, complete. When you witness thoughts without obeying them, you see their true nature. Most are not wise, not helpful, not even original. They are recycled fragments of the past, projections of the ego, or fears about what hasn't happened yet. They don't deserve your loyalty. They only demand your attention. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me, or is it just a habit? When you make this distinction, everything changes. You stop being the prisoner of your mind and start being its witness. And in that witnessing, something softens. You no longer feel the need to control every thought or chase every mental story. This is the essence of mindfulness. The Buddha never taught us to destroy the mind. He taught us to understand it, to observe it as you would observe a flame, a river, a bird in flight, without trying to possess it, without being swept away. Clarity doesn't come from thinking harder. It arrives when the mind quiets enough for wisdom to surface. The more you identify with thoughts, the noisier life feels. The more you identify with awareness, the more space you create for peace. So pause and ask yourself right now, what thoughts have I mistaken for truth? Am I the thinker, or am I the one watching the thought arise and fall? You are not the storm, you are the sky. Vast, endless, untouched by the weather that passes through. And the moment you stop fighting the clouds, the moment you allow them to come and go, you rediscover the stillness that has always been waiting for you. Lesson 8. The strength of surrender. There comes a point in every journey when strength is no longer measured by how tightly you can grip, but by how gently you can release. We grow up being told to fight harder, push more, hold on no matter what. But what if the greatest strength is not in clinging, but in surrender? Imagine a boat fighting against a raging river. The harder it rows, the more exhausted it becomes, until eventually the current drags it under. Yet the moment the rower stops resisting, something remarkable happens. The river carries the boat forward with ease. This is the power of surrender. And let's be clear, surrender is not giving up. It is not apathy or weakness. It is a radical shift from resistance to trust. It is giving in to reality as it is, rather than exhausting yourself trying to make it what it's not. Most of us live in resistance. We fight outcomes, cling to plans, argue with change, and call it ambition. But beneath that, striving is often fear. Place your hand on your heart, breathe deeply and say, "This too is part of the path." Notice how those words soften your fear. You are not lost. You are being reshaped. Stop asking for the map. Become the explorer. Let the silence stretch you. Let the unknown open you. Think of the cocoon again. The caterpillar doesn't negotiate with the process. It doesn't demand proof of wings before it dissolves. It surrenders fully. And from that surrender, transformation is born. The same is true for you. Your next chapter doesn't require your certainty. It requires your trust. Ask yourself honestly, am I clinging to certainty, or am I allowing myself to evolve through chaos? Do I trust the unfolding, or am I still trying to rewrite what already is? These are not just questions, they are doorways. Growth is not about holding everything together. It's about learning how to let things fall apart with grace. It's about letting the leaves drop, letting the old identity dissolve, letting yourself be bare for a season, because only then can something new take root. And here is the most profound truth. When you stop demanding ground beneath your feet, you realize you are the ground. You are the sky that holds the storm. You are the stillness in the middle of change. You are not falling, you are unfolding. So don't fear the unknown. Don't run from the instability. Embrace it. Because that space of groundlessness, that fragile, frightening, liberating space, is exactly where your freedom begins. That's where your next chapter lives. That's where life begins to rise, not from what you cling to, but from within you. When you finally stop needing the ground to stay still, you discover the deepest stability of all, the one that was inside you all along. Lesson 10. Letting the moment lead. Picture a river winding its way through mountains and valleys. It does not argue with the rocks in its path. It doesn't insist that the bends become straight or that the path stay smooth. The river just moves, flowing around obstacles, adjusting to every rise and dip, trusting the way as it unfolds. This is the heart of letting the moment guide. It is not weakness. It is not surrender. It is the highest act of wisdom. Yield to life as it comes. Yet most of us live caught in the opposite state. We hold on to control. We overmanage our work, our relationships, even our feelings, as if constant gripping could keep us safe. But the truth is, control takes us away from the only place where peace truly exists, the present moment. We end up managing life instead of living it. But what if, even for one breath, you stopped planning every move? What if, instead of rushing ahead with worry or falling back in fear, you paused and asked, what is life calling me to do right now? This question breaks the autopilot that keeps us going in circles. The mind loves to replay yesterday or run ahead into tomorrow, but rarely does it stay here, in the now. And still, this is where everything takes place. This is where clarity, healing, and wisdom dwell. Just think about it. How many times have you pushed, hurried, or forced a way forward, only to end up drained and stuck? What if those delays were not punishments, but invitations? What if the detours were not mistakes, but lessons? Life often holds back what you want to show you what you truly need. Surrendering to the present doesn't mean indifference. It means deep engagement with what is. Not with your picture of how it should be, but with the reality of how it is. It means you stop asking, "How can I control this?" and begin asking, "What wisdom does this moment carry if I stop trying to avoid it?" When you do, life starts to speak in ways you never noticed before. The present, once resisted, begins to reveal its treasures. Sometimes that treasure is clarity, sometimes it is patience, and sometimes it is simply peace. And peace itself is the ground from which everything else arises. Buddhism reminds us that control is only an illusion. The only true mastery you have is over your awareness, where you place it, how you shape it, and how you return to it. When awareness is rooted in the present, life finds its natural flow. The noise around you may remain, but it no longer pulls you down. You stay anchored, steady, and here. Try this simple practice. When restlessness comes, put both feet on the floor, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. Silently say, "I am here now." Then ask yourself, what is life asking of me in this moment? Don't overthink, don't hurry the answer. Just listen. Sometimes the wisdom is to act, sometimes to wait, sometimes to release. But there is always guidance, and here lies the paradox. When you stop resisting, life begins to fall beautifully into place. Your work, your relationships, even your sense of self begin to align. Not because you forced them, but because you stopped resisting the flow. You become like the river itself, flexible yet strong, grounded yet free. You come to see that real mastery lies not in force, but in flow, not in holding on, but in trusting. And through that trust, you discover the ease of living in harmony with the present. So I leave you with this. Stop trying to manage every moment and start living it. Let the river guide you. Let the now be enough. When you allow the moment to lead, you don't lose control. You uncover peace. And in that peace, everything, clarity, purpose, freedom, settles effortlessly into place. So now you've walked through these lessons, each one reminding you that peace is never something to chase. It's something you uncover when you let go, when you trust, when you return to presence. From loosening your grip on control, to calming the restless mind, to releasing the need for approval or fixing everything, you've seen that freedom is never in force, but always in flow. Buddhism reminds us that life is always moving, always shifting, always inviting us to release. And the more we resist, the heavier it becomes. But the moment we soften, the moment we allow, everything starts to come into balance. As you finish this video, ask yourself, which of these lessons do I need most right now? Is it loosening my grip on control? Is it stepping away from overthinking? Is it learning to trust the unknown? Hold on to that one insight and carry it into your day like a lantern. Let it guide your steps. Because the truth is, peace is not out there. It isn't waiting in some future moment. It is here, right now, if you're willing to notice it. And if this message has spoken to you, I invite you to keep walking this path with me. Subscribe for more teachings inspired by Buddhist wisdom. Share this video with someone who might need this gentle reminder today. And before you leave, take a moment to reflect in the comments. Which lesson touched your heart the most? Your words may be the light that helps someone else find their way. Until we meet again, breathe, let go, and remember, you are already enough.